Hi and welcome. I'm so glad that you dropped by today. My name is Lynda Phippen and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Ontario, Canada. I appreciate so much your subscriptions and your likes and your comments. You're so kind, and I'm learning as I go, and every week I seem to learn a new trick. So enjoy, and let's get started. Another great stamp set from our mini catalog, and it is found on page 46, called Welcoming Woods. And it's just a stamp set, but the potential is awesome. So I'm going to show you a few samples that I've come up with for today's video. This is what the stamp set looks like. It has trees, some leaves, and if you wanted to make a winter scene, it's certainly there. Hello friend, happy birthday, good luck, best wishes, and celebrate. So lots of potential in this. So this is the first card that we're going to do, and we're making it on Pacific Bay, some black and some white. Now there are some sizes that we have to look at, and I'm going to provide those for you. And here is our pieces that we're going to be using. So we have 3 pieces of white which we're going to stamp on, and we're going to use our stamp apparatus. So let me just get this set up for you. Now, this is the way that I've come up with doing it. If you have another idea, or after you practice a little bit, it will be, you might put out a few new ideas. So this one here, I'm lining it up on the stamp apparatus at 5 inches down here and 1 up here. So the next layer, I'm going to do them with 2 squares, which is a 1/2 inch, and I just need to put a tiny little bit of Stampin Seal just so that it doesn't move. Not very much, but just enough to keep it in place. So there, again, it's a 1/2 inch in and centered there, and the last piece. And I will put the sizes of these, and a 1/2 inch. Okay, so you do want to keep them lined up, but if they move, it all can be fixed. So I'm using Pacific Point, sorry, and I'm going to, first of all, I want to just make sure that I line up my stamp where I want it. But I'm going to use, okay, so that's exactly where we want it. And it is a little sticky. Okay, so that's looked after. So I'm going to put some blue at the top for the sky. So we have a little bit of blue. The second color that we're going to use is the Blackberry Bliss, which goes in the middle. You see it moves a little bit, but that's not a problem. And then a little bit of garden green at the bottom. So to get a nice blend, after you get them on, you can go over and just bring the colors together. And you can darken them up if you want to have them a little darker. So the first time I did it, it was, I would say, pretty light. You just don't want to mix up your colors when you're on your stamp pads. Okay, and I'm just going to do the Blackberry Bliss just a little bit more so that it blends. Okay, so you can see it moves a little bit, and that's okay. So I'll just put these aside for a minute. And then we're going to take our black memento and we're going to stamp on here. So this is a little bit trickier. But it's okay. So so we're going to concentrate on each individual layer first, because there are layers on it. You just have to stamp it more than once. Get some pressure on there. So there is our first layer. And I'm just going to put a little bit more Stampin' Seal on this one, so this is ready to go. So each piece is going to have a black frame. So you can see how nice that shows up. And the reason the stamping doesn't get on this one, of course, there's an ever so slightly raised part, which is why we'll give it an extra stamp. And it doesn't matter about the white because that's going to be covered up by the previous layer. So it's around here that we want. So let me just do it one more time. Again, the layers kind of throw it a little bit. And that looks great. Okay, a little bit of Stampin' Seal to put on our frame. And each one of these frames is just 1/8 of an inch larger. So as you can see, we're going to put this on here so you don't even see the white. And this was the tricky one, this branch. There is lots of ink on there, but it just didn't have an opportunity, and probably these don't help. Let me take those out. Okay, we're just going to get one more. Get the poetry. There we go. So just set that aside now because we're done with it. Don't forget to clean off your stamp afterwards. Okay, so we have our 3 layers. So just put those on there. So isn't that neat? So I used the Woodland embossing folder to give a bit of a texture, which really adds to the interest of the card. But before I did that, I did take my Pacific Point my Pacific Point ink pad, and I just so we don't get it on our work surface, just a scrap piece of paper, and just to give it a little bit of dimension, just one little swipe kind of adds so that you can see it a little bit better. You could put dimensions on this. So I've got that centered. This is the card with the black layer on the back, which really gives it a nice pop. And the sentiment I used is happy birthday. Now, because again that you're layered, I wanted to make sure that we kind of get it on straight. Not straight, but even. So there we go. And on the inside of the card, I layered white with black and just stamped some leaves on there, which, by the way, I forgot to stamp on our card itself. So let me just put a few leaves on there because we have leaves on our sentiment. Put the inside of the card. Now, the most challenging part of this card is just the measurements, which I will provide in the description, because you really want to get that layered effect. And I was very, very happy with the end result. So that is our first card. And I have a second card that I used with basic gray and granite gray, and made it a almost wintry scene. So we have winter, and I would say that that is fall, so winter and fall. And I added some little red birds that come from our Forever Beauty. And the neat thing about that is that they go either way. Like the die has two birds and they go both ways, which is nice. And then I used the punch, and the deer are from the Peaceful Deer set, which in a later video I will make some cards with just this set. But sometimes it's nice to bring different sets together. So there's our little red cardinals, maybe red birds anyway. So I'm going to stamp or cut this out right away, punch this out right away, and there is a dot on this, which I'm sure is for the eye. And there, I found the other eye. I just found that both times that I punched it, I lost the eye. And so there, the pieces with an extra eye this time. Okay, so this card, I did the white embossing And I just wanted to give the card a bit of a wintry feel. So I used the gray colors, which I quite liked. So just going to put this on first, because we're going to make some snow. Okay, so that is just white embossing powder. So, and use your heat gun. So to make the snow, I just took some white and just rip it in anything, because you know when snow falls, it doesn't really care where it goes. So it's just ripped, but before you put it on, you want to make sure that you stamp the your sentiment and the deer, just to make sure that, because sometimes you might have to switch it around, which I think I may have to. No, maybe he'll fit over there. So this is the gray granite, and I just put that on the corner here. Peaceful little deer. And the sentiment is hello friend. And I'm going to put that right here. So after you get your stamping on, then just glue your snow on. Don't you wish snow was that easy to remove in the winter? Now this one here I put dimensions on. Okay, so let's get rid of that snow. So just put some dimensions on. And put it on your card. When you figure out where you want it, anything out excess, you just remove the snow. Okay, so then we take our little stamped, or our punched deer, and I use the smaller dimensions on this one because it is quite tiny little guy. And I just put him kind of running around playing in the snow. I did not use the little dot for the eyes, but I do have a black marker that I just gave him a little eye. It's optional, of course, you don't need to be doing that. Give him some antlers. And then just add some birds on it, which I use the small dimensions again. And I cut these birds out with the red foil. Let's find a little branch for him to... There we go. Give him a little branch. branch for him. There we go. And this is card number 2. So I hope you enjoyed these cards and you have some ideas for your cards. And again, this one here, a nice masculine card for this time of year, birthday card, and this is Hello Friend, and just winter. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much. I appreciate your subscriptions and your thumbs up and your kind comments. Have a great week, and I will see you next week. Bye for now.